Okay, the financial order of operations, another proven path to building wealth. Now here we are, day 4 of 2025, and this is video number 4, the financial order of operations. FOO, as they call it, the acronym FOO, the financial order of operations. Now this was put together by the Money Guy. I listen to the Money Guy a lot on YouTube, and as I was saying when I was talking about the different books to get into, to actually have step-by-step roadmaps to get to your financial freedom and wealth building, one of the things I talked about was the Money Guy and their FOO, and I also talked about Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover and 7 Baby Steps. But now we're going to get a little bit into the FOO, the financial order of operations. Now there's 9 steps in the financial order of operations, and my intent here is to go over this in a very, very brief fashion and just to help you get an overview of it. You certainly can go to the Money Guy. They have videos on this. They also have a course on a deep dive into the financial order of operations. But here, for my purposes, is to just give you, like I said, a very, very brief overview. So, we have here the financial order of operations, and step number 1 is to take care of deductibles. And the Money Guy is talking about insurance deductibles here. So you want to just take your highest deductible, whatever it is, like let's say it's your home insurance or something like that, and you want to make sure that that's covered. And for many people, I think around $2,000 will probably fit this bill. So that's step number 1, deductibles covered. Step number 2 is the employer match. I love this one, man, because the employer match is often 100% return. I work for a great company, HEB, here in Texas. I'm an assistant manager on the front end, and HEB matches $1.60 for every dollar you put in, up to 2.5% of your income, which equals 1 hour of pay if you work 40 hours. Now, just to make the math easy for me, if you're making $10 an hour and you work 40 hours at our employment, then you get $16 rather than just that $10 if you were making $10 an hour. Now, most everybody in our organization makes more than that, but like I said, to make the math easy for me, that's $10 that you put in the week, and the company puts an additional $16. That's just free money, 160% return on your money. So I love the company match. I think anybody out there, you definitely need to take advantage of that and get your company match. It's an exciting thing to building wealth into your future. So I love that step. So the employer match. And then high interest debt is number 3. So you definitely want to get rid of like credit card debt and things like that. So I think that's a good step to go through. Step number 4 is emergency reserves. That's where you kind of get into this 3 to 6 months. But the Money Guy gets a little bit more nuanced because there's different stages in life. You may be a 1-income family rather than a 2-income family. So you may need 6 months or maybe a little bit more. And especially as you move towards retirement, it's good to have a buffer. So you may even go up to 18 or more months in retirement. So emergency reserves. And then step number 5 is Roth and HSA. Now Roth is a very, very good thing to get involved in. Now there's Roth 401ks and then there's the Roth IRA. What's cool about the Roth IRA is that you put the money in after taxes. After taxes are taken out of your check, but it grows tax-free, and then when you pull it out, it's tax-free, which is awesome. That is incredible. Now, HSAs are another thing. I don't have an HSA because you have to have a high deductible plan. And where I work, we actually do have a Cadillac plan as far as health insurance is concerned. So we're not eligible for an HSA. But what an HSA is triple tax advantage. So you're able to put the money in the HSA pre-taxed, it grows tax-free, and then when you take it out to take care of medical expenses, it's tax-free as well. So it's triple tax advantage. So I like this, that in step number 5, that the money guy talks about Roth IRAs and HSAs both as an area of concentration. Now, step number 6 is to max out retirement options. Now, the money guy kind of talks about investing 25% of your gross income into saving and investing rather. So they suggest investing 25% of your gross income. I think this is a good target to get to. Now, it may be aspirational in the beginning, but it's a great target to finally get to. So maxing that out, maxing out as much as you can, your 401k, Roth IRA, all the way up to the 25%, okay? And then hyper accumulation. This kind of throws in, hyper accumulation is step number 7. This throws in that after tax brokerage account. This is where you just open an account with someone like Vanguard, that's who I use, but there's Fidelity rather, and other companies out there. Very, very good step after you get past maxing out your retirement options. So if you're already saving 25% of your income, then you can graduate into actually having one of these brokerage accounts and even building more wealth. Now, you're at 25% sometimes at an even lower income. Let's say that you're a two-family income that's bringing in $40,000 a year. So each, the husband and wife are bringing in $40,000 each. That's $80,000 a year. If you're doing 25%, that's $20,000 that you're putting towards retirement, okay? If you're already doing that and you're hyper accumulating after that in an after tax brokerage account with a company like Vanguard, that's awesome. You certainly can do that. And so that's step number 7, hyper accumulation. And then step number 8 is prepaid future expenses. For them, this is kind of that step where you start to take care of your children as far as maybe their college tuition and things like that. The reason that the money guy puts this later in their steps is that you've got to make sure that you're taken care of, because it's kind of hard to take care of your kids if you're not taken care of. It's kind of like that analogy. I talked about it before. I got this from the money guy. When you're in a plane and those oxygen masks come down because there is an emergency, it's important that you put your oxygen mask on first before you help your child. Why? If you lose consciousness because you didn't put on that oxygen mask, your child is on their own and they may not make it. So you got to make sure that you take care of your finances and get it in the proper position first so that you're in a real position to take care of your children. So that's step number 8, prepaid future expenses. This may also be at the point to where you're looking to do other things, maybe buy properties and that, and become a real estate entrepreneur and things like that. So very good step, step number 8. Now let's take a look at the very last step, which is step number 9, which is low interest debt prepayment. So low interest debts would be like if you have a mortgage that's 2 or 3%. At this step, you certainly could pay that off. And it's probably a good thing, I even mentioned this in a previous video, to get rid of your home debt by retirement. So for me especially, I share that I put my loan on a 15-year fixed loan almost now 15 years ago. So I'm coming very, very close to my home mortgage being eliminated. So I think this is a very, very good step, number 9. So That is the Money Guy's 9 steps in the financial order of operations. And again, this was a kind of quick and dirty overview of it. But for me, as I developed my own plan for my finances, I really liked having several different plans to look at. I looked at Dave Ramsey's plan, the 7 baby steps. I've looked at this, the financial order of operations, and kind of molded that together to come up with a plan of my own. And for me, I like to keep it very, very simple and look at my overall finances and just ask myself some simple questions. Do I have that quick emergency fund? In the case of the food, do I have that $2,000 to cover those deductibles for the insurance? And then I'm looking at, what am I doing about the company match at my employer? Okay. In my case, that $1.60 for every dollar that I invest, up to 2.5%. Did I have that in action? Step number 2. And then 3, looking at getting rid of the consumer debt, the credit cards and things like that. Maybe you have furniture debt. A lot of times the credit card debt is at a 20+% interest rate. Crazy. Get rid of that stuff. Get that off of your plate. They are using compounding interest against you if you have credit card debt. Okay? Now, as a little caveat to mention from the Money Guy, they're okay with you having credit cards and using them, but not having credit card debt. Okay? Full disclosure, I use credit cards for the cash back, but I pay it every single Thursday and I use it as if it's cash. And I promise to myself, if I ever do not make a credit card payment on Thursday when I'm paid, that's done. The credit cards are getting cut up and I'm getting rid of them. So I make sure that I use it as if it's cash, and I'll only use it on things that I'm going to buy anyway. So you just got to make sure that that's out of your life. So taking care of consumer debt, credit cards is a big one. And then after that, I'm looking into, do I have 3 to 6 months of emergency savings? Because an emergency is going to happen. It's just going to happen. Life just throws things at you. Anytime you've lived long enough, you know something is going to happen. Why not be ready for it with that 3 to 6 month emergency fund? And to just kind of throw it in here, when you're getting closer to retirement and you're living off the dividends of your investing, then the stock market may be up or down, or different things are happening out in the stock market. So having a little bit of extra money to the side, a year or 2 of living expenses saved, like let's say that your living expenses that you want to live on are $80,000. So it might be nice to have $160,000 saved that you can actually use in something like a high yield savings account. So it would be a little bit bigger, 3 to 6 months to have to the side. After you have that 3 to 6 month emergency fund, I start to look at saving and investing. And we went over some of the Money Guy's suggestions there. I mean, investing rather. And that's where I kind of get to, I needed a good, solid philosophy on how to build wealth, what to put my money into to have it grow. In paper assets, we're talking about the stock market here. And what I read was that book that I suggested to you, The Simple Path to Wealth. That gave me the concrete step-by-step plan of what to invest in, how to invest it, and so on. And that's when I really learned and solidified my understanding of index funds. Now, index funds are just large baskets of companies. I'm going to use the S&P 500 as an example. The S&P 500, rather, is the top 500 companies here in the United States. Companies like Apple, I believe Tesla is in there now, Walmart, McDonald's, and all kinds of companies like that. You're buying a little piece of those in a bucket all together so that you're diversified in a a big, big way. And then for me personally, rather than just the S&P 500, I buy the total stock market fund. So there's well over 3,000, I think even close to 4,000 companies, if I'm right, in the total stock market fund. But it's cap weighted. I don't want to get into that. So it's mostly S&P 500. Like 80% of the total stock market fund that I purchased from Vanguard is 80% S&P 500, 20% the rest of the companies in the US stock market. So I like that. But what J.L. Collins does in The Simple Path to Wealth is he goes over his step-by-step formula for building wealth using paper assets, stocks, and maybe a small mix of bonds. But I needed that step-by-step. So I recommend that book. Maybe in the future, I'll talk about that one a little bit more. But I was talking about two teachers that I had in college. One that actually had you figure out the math problem yourself, basically, because there's several different ways that like an algebra problem can be solved. And then I had the professor that just showed you on the board step by step. This is what step I take first, second, and third to solve this problem. I liked that kind of professor. That's what I was into. That's what I preferred. So it's the same thing with The Simple Path to Wealth. He tells you the exact, he uses Vanguard, same that I use, the total stock market. The ticker symbol is VTSAX, Vanguard's total stock market fund, okay? So he goes through exactly what he uses, how he uses it, and that was just very, very helpful to me. So what I hope that this video helps you with is to get charged about getting your particular financial path together, okay? Take in some resources. It doesn't mean that you have to follow each resource exactly as it's written, but you want to take in information. Use your critical thinking to look at your particular situation in life and start to get charged up. Start to move step by step through a system. And it's okay too to just follow whatever system that you're looking into step by step. But the point is to get started, to start taking in the information. As I said in a previous video, get to know the area of personal finance and get your plan moving. Again, I hope this is helpful to you, and thanks for listening.